Verbling. Hi, everybody. This is Lisa with Verbling, and in this hour, we're going to be having a conversation class. And so, I would like to welcome anybody out there in Verbling land who wants to join us. We will be practicing our English. So, if you would like to spend this next hour speaking, because this will be a speaking class, we're not going to do any reading or writing or anything. We're just going to be having a conversation, and I think the conversation classes are usually one of the most helpful for people to really get a chance to use the English that they've been learning. So it's great to have other types of classes as well to help you learn vocabulary, pronunciation, but it's really all put together when you actually are in a conversation with somebody. So if you would like to practice your conversational skills, join us. Hi there, Nihan. How are you?
Hi, Lisa.
Hey, long
I'm,
time no see.
yeah, it's a kind of time schedule,
Yeah.
4 in the morning in Turkey.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, I just woke up 10
Oh
minutes
wow.
ago, maybe. Yeah, grab a
You're
coffee. Yeah, I was on the
waking up.
trip.
Oh.
My Friday was at Friday.
Mhm.
I didn't work.
Oh.
Because our office is moving another building,
Mhm.
and our boss just said Friday is off day, and
Nice.
I had a trip to a near seaside place,
Uh-huh.
and I just came home yesterday
Okay.
evening
Uh-huh.
and go to sleep directly. Uh, it was nice.
Yeah, so what did you do there at the place where you went?
I went to Bodrum, and in Bodrum, I have some friends, and we
Mhm.
visited their cottage in the
Uh-huh.
village.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I picked something nuts. What was it? Spicy hazelnuts, or
Hazelnuts. Uh-huh.
yeah, on the tree.
Yeah.
And we pick something, tomatoes
Nice.
or cucumbers
Uh-huh.
directly from the ground. It was really different and nice.
Oh, so your friends have a garden and like some
Mm,
trees and
yeah,
stuff?
yeah. It's a kind of a village,
Mm-hmm.
and I can say only 20 homes, 20 cottages at that village.
Oh
Yes,
wow, it's small. Small.
really
Yeah,
small,
really
and
small.
and the youngest people in the village is only 50 years old,
Uh-huh.
50.
50. Okay.
50,
Wow.
yeah, the
Yeah,
youngest
so
one.
so no children in the village.
No, no, but it was really, really original village.
Yeah. Wow. Is that in the village, is that where those people live all the time, like full time, or do they
Yes,
just come there? Oh, okay.
no, all the time.
Oh, they do? And how do they make money?
Their children send them,
Oh,
or
okay.
they have some pension system,
I see.
especially the women,
Mm-hmm.
because in the village they said 15 of them is uh, not divorced. What was the other?
Oh,
Mm,
widowed, maybe.
widows, yeah,
Yeah.
very old ladies.
Their husbands died a while ago.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
but
okay. Widowed, yeah.
it's really interesting. Nearly 18-year-old widowed with I we visited her house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she was perfect because she looks really young,
Uh-huh.
mm, she hadn't any health problem.
Nice.
She was just like us because they are really strong.
Wow. Are these people who have lived in that same village for a long time, so they all know each other and they're very close, or?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So some of them are relatives
Yeah.
because their surname is all the same,
Oh, okay.
kind of big family.
Yeah, I
But
see. Yeah.
when I asked the the old lady,
Mhm.
uh, have you been born here? And she just said, my mother and my grandmother was born in the same house too.
Wow. Oh, okay. So long time.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, in the United States, there's always doctors and researchers and scientists always trying to figure out why people are healthy or why some people live for a very long time. And from what I've read, is one of the key factors or most important things in your life to help you live a long time is to have those connections with people, to have a good social community, people who you care about and who care about you, and things like that. So they've done some studies even in, I think it was a town on the eastern coast of the United States where there were a group of people, I think it was from Portugal, or I think Italy or Portugal. Anyways, a lot of them had moved to the United States, but they were living together in a town, and many of those people did not get the common problems that we have, like heart disease and things like that, even though maybe they were eating a certain diet that supposedly was not good for you, but because of all of their close relatives and friends and the community, they found that out to be like the factor that was influencing their good health or their longevity, how long they live. So
Yes, yes,
yeah,
I totally agree with you because when I asked the 18-year-old lady,
yeah,
have you got any pills that randomly you have to take? And she asked,
yeah.
No, no, we
Uh,
don't need any pills or something.
uh-huh.
My mother, only 60,
Mhm.
she has to take some pills, lots of pills, because of
Mm.
um, what was it, hypertension or
Hypertension, or okay. Yeah, blood pressure. High
blood
blood pressure.
pressure. Or, yeah,
Mhm.
because she she lives in city and only
Mm.
16 and lots of health problems. But
Yeah.
the 18-year-old lady, nothing.
Yeah.
She uses salt or something. It's really
Wow. Yeah.
like me.
Well, it sounds like maybe they grow some of their own food too. It sounds like with the gardens and the trees
Yes,
and
yes,
things
because
like that.
there wasn't any grocery on the village,
Uh-huh.
and they mm, they did their breads at home and
Nice.
vegetables or something always
Mhm.
in the garden.
Yeah.
Totally natural, everything.
Wow. That's cool.
Mm,
It must
yeah.
be a good place to grow food too. The wet, with the weather in Turkey is probably has a good climate for growing things. Yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely. The
Yeah.
natural there wasn't any traffic
Mhm.
or some industrial things, nothing. Only the forest and the mountains, and the food was very delicious.
Wow.
It was good.
That sounds like
I
a nice little vacation for you.
Yeah, it was interesting and it was really nice.
Yeah. Nice. So we have another person who's joined us. Hi there, Pascal. How are you?
Hi, Lisa. I'm good. And you?
I'm doing great, thank you. I live in Washington State, so it's 6 o'clock in the evening for me, and we're talking with Nihan. She and I were just having a little conversation about her little trip, and
Okay.
she's in Turkey, so it's 4 a.m. for her. So she's She's an early morning person.
Yeah.
Usually a late night person, though, right, Nihan?
It's 9
Yes.
p.m. for
Yeah.
me.
Okay, where do you live, Pascal?
Actually, I'm in US.
Oh, you are
Yeah, in New York
in
City.
New York City. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay. So what are you
but
doing there?
uh, uh, I'm from Haiti,
Uh-huh.
so I'm in US in order to improve my English.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I'm going to spend 5 months here.
Mm-hmm.
So I go back home in December.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. How are you liking New York City?
Uh, it's my, let's see, it's my fourth time here.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's a very great city.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of things to see, to make. So
Yeah.
I love New York.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice city. Lots of things
Yeah,
to do all the time.
yeah,
How
yeah.
are you practicing your English by taking classes, or are you just living
Um,
there, or
in my first my my in the first in let's see, during my 2 first months,
uh-huh.
so I took classes in a learning center.
Yeah.
So but I think the method using there was not what I want, was not what
Okay.
I need. So
Yeah.
and one week ago, I discovered Verbling, and I think it's a very good tool. It's a very
Mm-hmm.
good website to improve my English um, without the without going out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a nice concept or a nice idea, Verbling. It's a great website because, like you said, from your own home or your apartment or wherever you are, you can connect many hours, not every single hour of the day, but most hours, and you have opportunities to speak. And so I find that people like Nihan, who have been in lots of classes and really participate, they get a lot of benefit because you just get that practice, and it's really, really great. I know that in working with a lot of students, one of the things that is the most difficult is to actually just get out there and try, and that can be intimidating if you are with a big group of people maybe, or um, so this is nice because you get to be in your own home and you get to participate as much as you want or as little as you want. You can watch the classes and just listen to other people, but of course if you want to practice and be more active in the classes, then you get to speak and read or write or whatever's going on in the class. So that is it's nice.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Nihan, when you first came on, I was saying long time no see because I haven't been teaching very many Verbling classes in this
Yeah.
last month because I have been so busy with my cafe that I own. Have you been taking Verbling classes a lot still, or what have you been doing during the summer?
I think the same because
Yeah.
I haven't any opportunity to go on a trip or something.
Mm-hmm.
And but in summer my company is not just really busy
Mm.
because I'm working in a medical company and no one wants to get any surgeon or operation in summer.
Oh,
You know,
that's funny. I never thought about that.
yeah. But it's a kind of mandatory because in summer operation could be in the health process in the treating process,
Mhm.
it could be really hard. And
Oh.
I can say nothing in work because only 2 hours could be enough, and the other hours we are just resting, resting, and resting. And
Yeah.
it was really it was really good for me in summers to joining that kind of classes because my mind is more
Yeah.
clearer. But I can say many different teachers, on Verbling,
Mhm.
and the system a little bit changed. Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't seen you lots because in winter or spring you
Mhm.
did some writing classes or something more.
Yeah. Yeah, I did more.
Actually, you was my first class on
Oh.
Verbling.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
maybe 6 months ago.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, and I just remembered that you were asking me my name, and I couldn't understand you, and I just barely say yes, yes, me.
Awesome.
That's funny.
And when someone just realized my improvement,
Oh,
it
nice.
was it was really surprised because only in 6 months I can express myself.
Yeah.
Thank to you, thank to Verbling, the whole
Awesome.
teachers.
Yeah. That's great. Well,
A
thanks.
really big opportunity for us,
Yeah.
When you are
Yeah.
working, you hadn't any time to
Mm.
join the classes or night classes. It was really exhausted, and but in this system,
Mhm.
it's really who find it. I don't know, but it could be a really genius.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And Pascal, I'm wondering when I know you're in New York City,
Yeah.
but I have lots of experience also with students who are in the United States even or have gone to other English speaking countries and they find it difficult to practice their English enough because it's so easy to hook up or to be with people of your own country or who speak your same language. Are you finding that in New York City that you're speaking with people? What is French?
I excuse me. I agree with you
Yeah.
because when I came here,
Yeah.
um, I wanted to speak with native speaker.
Hmm.
So when I arrived here after 2 weeks, after 1 month, it's it was very difficult to me to find someone to speak.
Yeah.
And if even though I was at school, I was in the center, in the learning center.
Hmm.
So generally, the tendency is to speak in my own language.
Sure. Yes.
So, but um, uh, with Verbling,
Hmm.
I think um, I hope in
Hmm.
1 month
Yeah.
uh, my English will is getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Nihan just gave the testimonial that, and I think I want to make sure to give credit to Nihan though because she put in all the hours and coming to class and participating and especially in the speaking classes, really trying your best to keep going and keep talking even if you make mistakes or
Yeah.
something that doesn't really matter. In my classes, I am really interested in just keeping the conversation going because if you miss you say the wrong word or the wrong verb tense, it's not so important. It's because it's more fun for the native speaker. So this is for you when you're going out in New York City and you want to find people to speak with. Just know that for them, it's also more fun to keep the conversation going. So they don't probably care if you make any mistakes, as long as the conversation is interesting and you keep talking and they keep talking. So I've been reading some books lately about how to help students make sure that they continue with their conversation. So, for example, for you, if you want to go, Pascal, to meet some native, English speakers in New York and have more opportunities to speak with them directly, then doing what you're doing now is a good practice for speaking to them. Like, because I like to ask you lots of questions, and the more details you can use when you answer the question, that keeps the conversation going, rather than, if a person asks you a question and you maybe just have a yes or a no answer, yeah, so keeping that conversation going. So it's really good. But it seems like you're enjoying New York and having fun. And yeah, Verbling is nice because it's different times throughout the day. So whereas your classes, the learning center, maybe it's just during the days, the hours of the daylight, like maybe 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or something.
Yeah,
Now you get to do it.
I had 2 hours per day.
Oh, 2 hours per day only.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah.
And it's far from my house. It's like 1 hour.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How do you get there? Walking or take the
Not
subway?
walking. I go by bus and by train.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And where are you living? Are you living with friends or family or?
I'm living with my family. My mom lives there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Has she lived there for long?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Nihan, go ahead.
But I found the speed, the normal speed is very hard to understand. I can understand a teacher, but when I go on the street, it's not the same thing.
Sure.
I have it seems some a different language. It's not English sometimes. Yeah.
Well, in New York City, it might not be. There's so many people living there.
Yeah. You know what, Pascal?
Yeah.
I watched a movie 3 years ago. It was really classic. I'm sure you know it, Lisa. Good morning, Vietnam.
Vietnam, yes. Good morning, Vietnam, yes.
Yeah, there was a guy and Robin Williams, just a radio guy, and he attended some classes for teaching, and when he attended, the teacher was teaching some grammar rules or something, but he said it's nothing in America. If you want to speak more natural, you have to learn some slangs, you have to learn some phrases.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to say two things. First, I wondered, Nihan, after listening to all the different teachers and taking the classes, do you feel like you're able to understand more when people are speaking at a normal rate? Native speakers are speaking. Is that help? Yeah, that has helped. So
I watched lots of movies, and the movies is not for the students or something. This normal movies, and they use the casual speech and some slang, phrases, idioms, and I can understand. But I know our teachers just forced their staff to speak more slowly because If they speak the normal way, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think so. We can understand them totally. Even in the advanced classes, it
Yeah.
was really hard.
Hmm.
But not really difference about the movies.
Yeah.
But on streets, I don't know. I haven't been in America or in England. I don't know. Maybe I can't understand anything. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Pascal, that's you have a great opportunity, of course, living in New York. Even if you just go to like a cafe or a little, pizza place or something
Yeah.
like that, you have the opportunity to hear
But yeah.
a lot of real conversations and yes, even I am from California, so that's the west coast of the United States. So when I have gone to New York City, they definitely have a little bit different way of saying things, little different accents, and they use some different vocabulary. And some people can use a lot of slang and idiomatic expressions that can make it more difficult to understand what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But I think the benefit to you being in the United States is that you can kind of watch these people and listen and see the context. So maybe that helps you a little bit, understand what they're talking about. And because I have a cafe, and so a lot of people come in and they might spend an hour or 2 hours meeting with a friend, and you can always listen. You overhear. We call it overhearing a conversation, and sometimes it's kind of fun to listen to what they're talking about. And so, but that's a good exercise because that would be very difficult, just to go in the middle of somebody's conversation and start listening to what they're saying. But sometimes it can be very funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but I'll give you a little suggestion, Pascal, is for specific things that you're trying to learn. If you can find some materials, like I know Nihan likes movies. Right, Nihan? You watch a lot of movies?
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots.
So movies are great. So if there are some movies, Pascal, that you like and you have the opportunity, maybe on your computer or something, to just watch them a couple of times. The first
Okay.
time it just might be so fast that you just understand a lot because you understand a lot of words, but also what's happening by watching. But if you watch, second, third time, it's really going to help, and you're just going to start understanding, even if the people are talking very fast and you're very with a lot of speed and a lot of slang, because you're going to start. Your ear is going to get used to it, and then you'll hear and it'll make sense, So,
Do you
yeah.
think it's necessary to have the subtitles
Uh,
when I watch a TV when I watch
Original
a movie?
subtitle?
you mean in English?
Yeah,
So
in English. Yeah.
yeah, that would be great. Yeah, if you can, yeah, if you can, that would be great because at least then if you even want to just do it like a study, if you want to like study a little bit instead of reading or studying from a book or something, you could take a scene in a movie, and especially if you have the English subtitles, you can just watch it, listen, and then read along, and then just repeat it. Maybe take like a scene that's only 10 minutes long, so you're not watching the whole movie, over and over again, but just a scene where you really want to understand what they're saying. I have quite a few students here on Verbling who have told me that they have, I think they've really improved their English. They watched a lot of like CNN
Okay.
or sitcoms. I don't know if you like certain sitcoms. There are some that are very popular, even for Americans. I don't watch a lot of. I got muted. Okay,
Yes.
I don't watch a lot of TV, but like Breaking Bad, I hear is very
It's not
popular.
sitcom,
Well, a drama or something.
Okay.
Yeah, like something that's the most important is for your motivation is something that is interesting to you. So if you like comedies, watch some funny movies or sitcoms, and if you like the drama more, or serious, or something like history, you know.
Yeah,
So
Isa,
yeah.
and that can help me in improving my listening, right?
Yes, listening, but also at some point, once you've listened and you've really understood, that's okay. So, like, the listening is a passive activity, right? You're sitting there and you're just listening, and pretty soon, like Nihan, she probably can understand a lot in the movies now in English, and then the next step is to use that. So it becomes a part of your vocabulary. So listening to movies and songs and radio shows or whatever, you're going to hear a lot, and it's going to be good for your vocabulary. But then,
Okay.
like in a class like this, or with other classes or other people, then you can start using that language. So phrases that you hear, you've heard them many times, and now you start using them. So that's like what Nihan was saying about like the slang. You know, sometimes you might not feel comfortable, like exactly when are you going to use this expression maybe, but after listening and hearing the context that people use it, you'll be able to use it, and then
Yeah.
that's what being fluent really is. You know, just being
Yeah.
able to use things. That's how, you know, it's funny if you. I don't know if you remember when you were little as a kid, but I have 3 kids, and they're not so little anymore. They're 10 and 13 and 15, but we have lots of littler kids in the neighborhood, younger kids, and you know, even a native English-speaking child, when they hear a new phrase, like in a song or on, you know, in a TV show that they're watching, they like repeat it all day long. You
Okay.
know, like my son who's 13, he's been driving me crazy because he's walking around all day long going, uh, that's beast mode. Like, I don't even know what he's talking about, but that's like a new slang phrase. That's beast mode. Beast mode. Yeah, I'm a beast, you know, and it just means like that's cool or that's great. That,
Strong.
you know, yeah, it's so he's going around all day long, like he's burning that into his brain. Beast mode, you know. So I think that, you know, sometimes as adults, we feel more self-conscious of what we say, and we don't want to make mistakes, and we're
Yeah.
nervous about being embarrassed. But the kids, they just walk around saying all kinds of crazy stuff and singing songs. They don't even know what they're saying. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of the songs, there's a song that's popular in the United States right now on the radio, at least in my town, and this one of the lyrics is something like she's write it. I'm gonna write it, but they're gonna mute me. So hold on. She's okay. She's up all night to get lucky. Okay, and so it's talking about sex, you know, having
Yeah.
sex,
Yeah.
and they're just singing the song "Up All Night to Get Lucky," you know. and, and so they don't even know what they're saying, and sometimes they're not even saying the right lyrics, but they're learning. And then, you know, then their friend will say, "That's not what they said, you know, they said this," and so then they correct it. And so I think as language learners, if we can get back to that kind of freedom to just sing, even if we're wrong, or say words and just keep repeating, then that way you'll internalize. It'll become a part of you. So now, you know, you'll walk around going, "Hey, that's awesome," or "That's cool," you know, like whatever the phrase is that you want to learn. So
Yeah.
yeah. So no.
Uh,
So don't. So even to yourself, like there are some read recently. I think in China, maybe it's in China, or maybe it's the guy in Korea or something. I was reading about this English teacher, and his method is like shouting, like English, because I think it was for Chinese, because what I read was like oftentimes Chinese people can be very quiet and reserved, and so when they're learning English, they're not so expressive to speak. And so he wants to get them speaking, and so he says to just yell out, like, "How are you today?" "I'm fine," you know, "I'm good." So You can practice that. What were you going to say, Neha?
Especially movies, when you learn something in courses or school, it's
Yeah.
really formal way that your phrases or something. But
Yeah.
in movies, you can learn their natural phrases. It
Sure.
helps you not only the listening, because you cannot learn anywhere the natural phrases, not in the books or something. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of classes on Verbling or the
Yeah.
movies, but the
Mm-hmm.
natural way they speak, you can learn not only the slangs.
Sure.
When you were watching a family TV series, they use
Mm-hmm.
really clear language, and
Yes.
but the casual speech, and you can learn their natural speaking way. It
Mm-hmm.
helps me because I sometimes noted them
Mm-hmm.
to sound more naturally. I
Yeah.
haven't any chance like Pascal. Around me, no one speak English, only
Mm.
my own language, and
Mm-hmm.
nothing the native speakers or something. If I want to speak a native speaker in my country, in my city, I have to
Mm-hmm.
pay them
Sure.
because they are teachers all.
Mm-hmm.
And but in the movies, and it's a really funny way to learn something.
Mm-hmm.
First time I watched with subtitles, with the English subtitles,
Mm-hmm.
and I cannot, because sometimes they speak quickly or a little bit noisy backgrounds or something. But the second time, without any subtitle, I can listen the natural way they speak. What was the name, annotations or some some vocabularies, expressions, that kind of empathize. That
Mm-hmm.
was the correct way, and in that way I can learn lots of vocabulary or the whole sentence, whole phrase,
Sure.
and it's really helpful for me.
Yeah. 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 That's one of the things I believe in too. Is learning words and vocabulary is good, but it's sometimes better, or often better, I think, if you can learn the whole phrase, because
Yeah.
in when you're speaking, just like in your own native language, you don't just speak in one word at a time. You use those words to express yourself about things. So
Yes.
learning those phrases, and Nihan, you're saying what you're saying, I think is really good, because it's not just even the vocabulary or but even the rhythm and the tone
Yes.
and the emphasis um,
Yeah.
is what a language is. So just like in Turkish, people in Turkish have their way of emphasizing certain words and the rhythm and the tones that you use, and that's all part of the language learning. Pascal, just if a person is upset, they might say words, in a different way than if they're casual and relaxed and feeling good. So all of those subtle things come out in human emotions. They come out through language and body language too, but using the language. And so sometimes that can be difficult for people who are trying to understand the words if it's the rhythm that is different, because like I was talking to a student I had the other day, and he was saying that, what was it? He's from Syria actually, and his teacher back in Syria, an English teacher, she was not a native speaker, so she was pronouncing a word. Um, Maybe it was multiple, but she was saying multiplay or something like that. She just, so
Yeah.
he always had it wrong, the way that she said
Yeah.
it. And so he had to, now he's living in the United States, so he had to remember, like, every time he went to say that word, it was going to be wrong because it was in his memory that way, and so he had to make an effort to change. So yeah, I mean, and Nihan, what you're saying too is good, because there's all different levels of language, and if you're watching like a TED Talk or a documentary, sometimes those can actually be easier to understand because it is more formal language they are speaking in very clear, complete sentences.
Yeah.
Talking about one topic, but in a movie or in casual speech, people interrupt each other and they leave off words, because you might just already know what they're talking about. They don't have to finish the sentence,
Yeah.
so it's all of those things, which happen in every language. So it's just really getting into the culture also about how people express themselves in the tones. Is there something, Pascal, that is especially difficult for you at this point in
Um,
understanding, or?
not understanding. I'm a little bit nervous when when I when I have to talk in
Mm-hmm.
English.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I know the correct word. Sometimes uh, I I have an idea, but when I talk, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not satisfied about the about my expression.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So
so
when you're trying to speak and you want to talk, do you what do you think holds you back? Is it because you don't have the excuse me, you don't have the words that you want to use, or the verbs and using the different verbs, or is it
um,
mostly just vocabulary about specific topics, or what do you think is holding you back?
sometimes um, it's vocabulary about a specific topic.
Okay.
Sometimes um, uh, I find writing is more it's I find writing
Mm-hmm.
is easier than speaking, because um, when you speak to someone,
Mm-hmm.
you have to speak. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
people can't wait to you waiting you. You
Mm-hmm.
have
Wait,
to
wait for you. Yeah.
wait for
Yeah.
you. You have to
It could
speak.
be
But
boring. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's not the same thing when you have to write something. You
Sure.
can
You have more
think. You can,
time.
yeah, you have
Yeah.
more time.
You can think more.
So
Yeah.
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 Right.
It's the last stage, Pascal, you know. Even in Turkey, the teachers, English teachers, not the native English teachers, even they couldn't speak. They could write, they could express or understand everything. The
Mm-hmm.
academic ones, professors or something, but
Yeah.
they couldn't speak. I think it's the last stage that to learn a language, to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's the last stage. I have a problem with the phrases, because in Turkish we set up some long sentences,
Mm.
kind of paragraphs,
Yeah.
but when you use a second language, you cannot set a sentences like it,
Mm.
because it's not your native language. Actually, I write some poems and
Yeah.
has already published, and
Wow.
my private friends is
Mm-hmm.
always writers or philosophers or something, and
Mm-hmm.
when we speak in our own language, we use really detailed language in our own mother tongue,
Yeah.
and it's really hard to translate it to English. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's nothing for me, because I don't care about it. When I just start, I realize that I force myself to translate my own language to English. It's the
Mm.
really it was my fault, because it's impossible. I cannot
Yeah.
speak as a native.
Yeah.
In my whole life, even if I study 16 years English, it's impossible. But when I realize it's not necessary. I
Yeah.
can set some little, some short sentences to express myself, and
Hmm.
somebody can understand me. The point is, I think, to keep talking
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good technique for a person, because depending on how much time a person has to devote to language learning, Nihan has a job and she's got other things going on, and so learning English, living in Turkey, there's only so much time you can devote, and you're in the United States now, so that's a great opportunity. But even in your day-to-day life. You will decide how much time you want to spend improving your English, and then you might have different goals. So a person who maybe really needs to improve their English so they can get a better job, they're definitely going to spend time, or they should spend time with very specific vocabulary needed to meet those needs. Like if you need to speak with clients about finances or something, or ordering, or if Nihan needed to speak about accounting or medical
Medical terms.
terminology, yeah, things like that, then you would work on that specific vocabulary, because even a person who is a native English speaker, I might not have all the vocabulary I needed to work on cars, for example. So
Yeah.
I would have to learn new terminology, or if I wanted to study law, for example, or something. So in the yeah, like what Nihan's saying is, listening. A lot of people can read in English or understand, a lot of reading, even maybe write and listen and hear movies. But the speaking, that's a new, not new. It's another step that needs to happen, and that's why I like to have the conversation classes, because I notice that a lot of people don't have as much time as they would like or need to just speak. And the best is to speak, even if it's simple phrases, simple sentences, like Nihan was saying, maybe in your own language you're a person who can be very detailed and speak about philosophy and literature and movies and very big themes of life, but in English, just having a conversation, simplify, make it easier, just say short sentences and just keep it going. And I also, another technique, Pascal, for you might be when you do meet somebody, you can have kind of control of the conversation so that you ask them questions and keep it going that way too,
Okay.
so
Okay.
yeah, so not just worrying so much about what you're going to say, but also invite them to speak and say more things, and then that'll give you time to think, and then be able to answer and say other things. um, there's something you said, Nihan, that I was going to talk about, but forgot. But yeah, so I think the whole idea about vocabulary also is, once you start really engaging with the language, and it's going to happen a lot faster, and that's one of the things that Nihan's telling you have a great opportunity, is because you're hearing it all the time. If you're going out and interacting with people, even if you don't speak to them directly, but just being in their environment where you're hearing English being spoken, going to a coffee shop and ordering a coffee, going and eating a pizza, going to a movie, walking down the street. There's so much happening in New York City all the time that there's that at some point, just I bet you can start a conversation with somebody that would be interesting. Because
Yeah.
I find a lot of Americans, they're interested in other people, and so they probably would be very interested in, why you're in New York, what are you doing, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I definitely know that it can be difficult if you're mostly hanging around with like family or friends that speak to you in your language,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. especially for Pascal,
Mm-hmm.
he's really lucky because I'm. I wrote I read a research about how many people speak English around the world, and only 5% of the English speakers is not native.
Right.
And yeah, and sometimes I have to speak with my clients or suppliers around
Mm-hmm.
the world, but I can understand when I speak with England or Ireland or something.
Yeah.
They can understand me more quickly because their own native language, and they can correct me, or I can express myself to them really really easy. But when
Mm.
I was speaking with Korea or Chinese, it's really hard
Mm.
to communicate with the second language because I know their second language and they know my second language is English. Sometimes I couldn't express myself. I couldn't explain my details. But
Mm.
if I were in America or something,
Yeah.
I know they can understand me more quickly. They can understand easily because I think in Turkey when when another person just try to speak Turkish, I can
Mm-hmm.
understand her or him about 5 or 6 words because I can complete their ideas. It's
Right.
really more easier way
Okay.
to express yourself. But if you, but the main point is I think they can uh, they can be bored or something,
Mm.
and maybe they just don't want to listen anymore if you don't keep speaking, if you just stand or say nothing. Maybe they can keep boring, but I know my speaking skills is only beginner or a little bit
No.
intermediate. Yeah,
Not beginner. No
and
way.
beginner
Yeah.
of the intermediate.
Yeah.
but
No, solid.
I know I can express myself. I can say something more easier way, and they
Yes.
can understand me.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a technique that this guy uses. I forget his name. I think Boris Schechtman or something. So I'll give him credit. He wrote a book about how to improve your fluency in native language immediately, and he gives ideas on tools for communication. And one of his ideas is called "show your stuff." So show your stuff means, show the other person what you know. So in language learning, it can be a good idea for you to kind of come up with what we call like a monologue about yourself. So a very common thing that happens when you meet somebody is they might ask you, where are you from, what are you doing, or what do you do for a job, are you studying, why are you here in New York? And so instead of just listening to movies and everything, all that's good, but you might want to concentrate on coming up with that monologue. What is your answer to that question? And then make that answer broad, big, long, like say a lot, and
Yeah.
so you can, and if you need to, you can write it all out first and kind of memorize it so that when somebody says, oh, hi there, Pascal, how are you? So what brings you to New York? Instead of just saying something simple like, oh, I'm here to learn English, like that would be a simple sentence, but that would kind of just end it.
Okay.
That, they might say, okay, instead you could elaborate, which means talk more, explain more, oh, well, I'm from Haiti, and I'm coming to, I have come to the United States to practice my English. I've been living here for 2 months already. I'm living with my mom and my brother, something like that. I'm hoping that after 5 months I will be able to speak English at this, higher level, because when I return to Haiti, I want to be able to use English for my job, something like that. I'm making
Okay.
that up, but it would be personal to you because you know your situation, And so that would be like that's called showing your stuff. And that could be on any topic that might be of interest. So I think, for example, Nihan, I think she has a good show your stuff when she talks about movies, because I have had her in classes before where she has expressed her ideas and opinions and thoughts about different movies, because I know she likes movies. So that's always a great thing if you can come up with different topics that you really like to talk about. Maybe I have had a lot of students in Verbling who like technology, a lot of guys, for example. And so they get really excited to talk about new technologies, computers, iPods, things like that. So you can come up with topics, and then you create like what you would say about that. Does that make sense? Do you
Yeah,
understand what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Nihan? Because it sounds like, uh, I mean, that's a technique for helping communication with another person. So, and that also helps the other person, especially a native speaker. If you are able to speak in that way, then they feel more comfortable continuing the conversation, because if you only answer questions in very short sentences and then don't say anything else, they might not think that you can speak enough to continue more, with the conversation. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, like Nihan said, open any questions or answers, yes. So explaining more in detail. Like I was doing that with Nihan before you came on, Pascal, is she was telling me about her weekend, so I asked her to tell me more, and she was able to explain what she did, what she saw. She had some ideas about the people that she saw, how long they've been living there. So we had a nice conversation that I was really interested in it. So that was
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
I think, but no offense, Pascal, if you are not married or something, you have to take a girlfriend.
Get a girlfriend. Yes, that's
So, I think it's one of the best way to
Yes.
learn a new language. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know that. Yeah.
Great motivation, yeah.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
in my country, I know some guys that
yes.
they try to learn English because they have some in foreign countries they have some girlfriends or something.
Yeah.
It was their only motivation. It's really interesting because they are trying to write some emails, or they first themselves to communicate. It
Sure.
was a really good way to learn, but not specifically girlfriend, but maybe some native friends. That could be easy, and I think you have to avoid your own people. You have to
Yeah.
speak with your mother in English. If you speak in home in your own on native language, it could be hard. It could be really confused, because sometimes I said my mom, they visited me once a month, and I just said my mom in home, oh, mom, I prefer that you know English. Maybe we can communicate with English. And she just said, I'm too old. I couldn't learn any English.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but she tried, because she asked me something in English, because she was a teacher, and she
Huh?
knows a little bit English,
Nice.
and
Good.
she asked something in English, and wants a big and long answer to me. She forced myself, but
Yeah.
if my mom knows English, I think in home I forbid to speak in my native language. And Pascal, you said your mom was already there, maybe a long time, and I think her English is better than us. Or maybe in home you can speak English. You can force yourself.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Definitely a good idea.
Yeah, we're almost out of time, but I wanted to leave you with this other idea. I just went to the library earlier today, and I got a new book that came out last year, I believe. Okay. It's called The Power of Habit. You could probably look it up online. But in it, they're talking about, I just started reading it, but I have a sense of what they're saying. And that is just this idea of creating habits that help you get what you want. So if you really want to take advantage of being here in the United States to improve your English, maybe you could come up with, even just start with one habit, like every day you're going to do this thing, and like it might be speaking English to your mom in the morning, saying good morning, things like that. It could be that you go every day to one particular location, because New York is really big. But if you go to like the same bakery every day or the same cafe, you'll start to know people, and you can say hi and ask them questions, and instead of going to like different places, because that could be a habit that you do, and like for 30 days, devote yourself to doing this one habit that will help you get what you want, like speak more, listen more, whatever it is that you're wanting right now. So.
Yeah. I just want to add something quickly.
Sure.
I met a guy which was Turkish, but lives in England 15 years.
Yeah.
And he said there was nothing around me that speaks English. It was all Turkish. But I just suggest him that you can join the volunteer job and. To meet some to meet some native guys, and you can communicate with them. It was easier, and Pascal, you can do it.
Yeah. I know that in the United States it can be difficult to get a job, but so I don't know if you can definitely volunteer for no money, but to get a job might be harder with, where you can speak with English people. But I did have a student from Brazil who went to Australia, and he got a job at Domino's Pizza. So he got a lot of practice, like, taking orders for the pizza and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was fun for him. Yeah. Well, you guys, thanks for joining me in this hour. It was a small class, but that's always nice. We get to talk more. And Pascal, good luck and have fun in New York City, and I hope to keep seeing you on Verbling. I'm going to start doing a few more classes. The schedule's not working, where the classes are open don't work for me necessarily, but when they do, I will have some classes. So if you want to come back.
Please, writing classes.
You want to do some writing classes? Okay.
Yes, it was really fun with you in writing classes. I learned lots of things in your.
Yeah, I like the writing classes a lot. So that I did them for a while, and we had a really good group of people. And then then they kind of started dropping off. So I wasn't sure if they were as wanted. But if you are requesting, then I can definitely do some, and we'll see who shows up and. Figure out what times work for people, so that's good. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye.
Great.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for the class, Lisa.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye, Pascal. Bye-bye.
Bye, Pascal. See ya.
And go to sleep directly. It was nice.
Yeah, that's so. What did you do there? At the place where you went?
I went to Bodrum, and in Bodrum I have some friends, and we visited their cottage in the village.
Yeah. Nice.
I picked something nuts. What was it? Hazelnuts or
hazelnuts?
Yeah. On the tree,
and
we pick something, tomatoes
nice.
Or cucumbers directly from the ground. It was really different and nice.
Oh, so your friends have a garden and like some trees and stuff?
Yeah, it's a kind of a village, and I can say only 20 homes, 20 cottages at that village.
Oh
Yes,
wow, it's small. Small.
really
Yeah,
small.
really small.
And the youngest people in the village is only 50 years old.
Uh-huh.
5 and 0.
50. Okay.
50,
Wow.
yeah. The
Yeah,
youngest
so
one.
so no children in the village.
No, no. But it was really, really original village.
Yeah. Wow. Is that in the village, is that where those people live all the time, like full time, or do they
Yes.
just come there? Oh, okay.
No, all the time.
Oh, they do? And is it how do they make money?
Blooms, but
Yeah.
the 18-year-old lady, nothing.
Yeah.
She uses salt or something. It's really
Wow. Yeah.
like me.
Well, it sounds like maybe they grow some of their own food too. It sounds like with the gardens and the trees
Yes,
and
yes,
things
because
like that.
there wasn't any grocery on the village,
Uh-huh.
and they mm, they did their bread at home and
Nice.
vegetables or something
Hmm.
always in the garden.
Yeah.
Totally natural, everything.
Wow. That's cool.
Mm,
It must
yeah.
be a good place to grow food too. With the weather in Turkey, is probably has a good climate for growing things. Yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely. The natural there wasn't any traffic
Hmm.
or some industrial things, nothing. Only the forest and the mountains, and the food was very, very delicious.
Wow.
It's good.
That sounds like
I
a nice little vacation for you.
Yeah, it was interesting and it was really nice.
Yeah. Nice. So we have another person who's joined us. Hi there, Pascal. How are you?
Hi, Lisa. I'm good. And you?
I'm doing great, thank you. I live in Washington State, so it's 6 o'clock in the evening for me, and we're talking with Nihan. She and I were just having a little conversation about her little trip, and
Okay.
she's in Turkey, so it's 4 a.m. for her, so she's an early morning person.
Yeah.
Usually a late night person, though, right, Nihan?
It's
Yeah,
9
yes,
p.m. for
yeah.
me.
Okay, where do you live, Pascal? People are healthy, or why some people live for a very long time. And from what I've read, is one of the key factors or most important things in your life to help you live a long time is to have those connections with people, to have a good social community, people who you care about and who care about you, and things like that. So they've done some studies even in, I think it was a town on the eastern coast of the United States where there were a group of people, I think it was from Portugal, or I think Italy or Portugal. Anyways, a lot of them had moved to the United States, but they were living together in a town, and many of those people did not get the common problems that we have, like heart disease and things like that, even though maybe they were eating a certain diet that supposedly was not good for you, but because of all of their close relatives and friends and the community, they found that out to be like the factor that was influencing their good health or their longevity, how long they live. So
Yes, yes.
yeah,
I totally agree with you because when I asked the 18-year-old lady,
yeah,
have you got any pills that randomly you have to take?
yeah.
And she asked, no, no,
Wow.
we don't need any pills or something.
Uh-huh.
You know, my mother, only 60,
Mhm.
she has to take some pills, lots of pills, because of
Mm.
um, what was it, hypertension or
Hypertension. Okay. Yeah, blood pressure. High
blood
blood pressure.
pressure. Yeah,
Mhm.
because she she lives in city and only
Mm.
16 and lots of health problems.
Verbling. Hi, everybody. This is Lisa with Verbling, and in this hour, we're going to be having a conversation class. And so I would like to welcome anybody out there in Verbling land who wants to join us. We will be practicing our English. So if you would like to spend this next hour speaking, because this will be a speaking class, we're not going to do any reading or writing or anything. We're just going to be having a conversation, and I think the conversation classes are usually one of the most helpful for people to really get a chance to use the English that they've been learning. So it's great to have other types of classes as well to help you learn vocabulary, pronunciation, but it's really all put together when you actually are in a conversation with somebody. So if you would like to practice your conversational skills, join us. Hi there, Nihan. How are you?
Hi, Lisa.
Hey, long time
I'm,
no see.
yeah, it's a kind of time schedule,
Yeah.
4 in the morning in Turkey,
Oh my
and
gosh.
yeah, I just woke up 10
Oh
minutes
wow.
ago, maybe, yeah, grab a
You're
coffee. Yeah, I was on the
waking up.
trip.
Oh.
My Friday was at Friday.
Mhm.
I didn't work
Oh.
because our office is moving another building,
Mhm.
and our boss just said Friday is off day, and
Nice.
I had a trip to a near seaside place,
Uh-huh.
and I just came home yesterday
Okay.
evening. Their children send them,
Oh,
or
okay.
they have some pension system,
I see.
especially the women,
Mhm.
because in the village they said 15 of them is uh, not divorced. What was the other?
Oh,
Mm,
widowed, maybe.
widows, yeah, very old ladies.
Their husbands died a while ago.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
but
okay. Widowed, yeah.
it's really interesting. Nearly 18-year-old widowed with I we visited her house.
Mhm.
Oh, she was perfect because she looks really young.
Uh-huh.
Mm, she hadn't any health problem.
Nice.
She was just like us because they are really strong.
Wow. Are these people who have lived in that same village for a long time, so they all know each other and they're very close, or?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So some of them are relatives
Yeah.
because their surname is all the same,
Mhm. Oh, okay.
kind of big family.
Yeah, I
But
see. Yeah.
when I asked the old lady,
Mhm.
uh, have you been born here? And she just said, my mother and my grandmother was born in the same house too.
Wow. Oh, okay. So long time.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, in the United States, there's always doctors and researchers and scientists always trying to figure out why